You've never seen The
ultimate chick
Notebook?
flick? Is that what it is?
It is.
It's the ultimate
It's
something
like
else flick.
Bridgerton in a movie.
Yeah.
Nick Hornby novel made into
Nick Sparks. Nick Hornby was High Fidelity. I love you, Peter Schrager. Okay, we also have Toe Drag Swag. Not only that, Nate, you got your wish. We're talking about incentives.
Ah,
excited
yeah,
about that?
talk about incentives in Week 17. That's something that people don't know about. Players have incentives in their contract, these escalators, and a few guys hit them, and we're going to break it down in a funny little segment here on Good Morning.
Yeah, a couple of funny things had to happen for some of those guys to get those incentives. But right now, it's time for the
lead block.
Lead block.
The lead block. All right. There's a lot of drama, of course, in Week 17. The new playoff format provided that, which I absolutely love. Now, one team kind of slid under the radar a little bit, and all they did was rush for 404 yards and beat a division rival by 35 points. The team I'm talking about is, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, they've got the Titans on Sunday, the team that last season shockingly knocked them out and upset them in the playoffs. John Harbaugh was asked yesterday if there's a little extra something after how it ended in 2019.
Is there any sort of revenge factor from last year's playoff loss?
Yeah, I think we're just focused on the game. You know, really previous games really have little bearing. It's got some history. The rivalry does, sure. But what impact does any of that have on the next game? We just have to go play our best game of the year. That's what we're preparing to try to do.
Okay, so maybe it's not a revenge game for John Harbaugh, womp womp, but Lamar Jackson still has a score to settle. He is 0 for 2 in the postseason. We talked about this a little bit yesterday as we reacted to Week 17's games. How do we think that reputation, that narrative, that kind of went away because they had a really nice win against the Browns, was it enough? Does the history factor play into wildcard weekend, KB?
I think it can. I think we have to remember last year, as hard as we can last year, that the Ravens were the #1 story in football. They were a party. There was dancing. It was sunglasses on the side. It looked so fun. Like they had a party every single week. And then they just got absolutely cracked. They did. They got cracked. And that's not the deal this year. It's not. I think they did learn a lot from that, especially if you remember Lamar saying afterwards that we weren't prepared and they caught us off guard. And they get this great fortune of literally playing the same team that knocked them out last year. I think it can. I think psychologically they'll be more ready. I also think, Lamar is 23 years old still, and he's lost a couple of playoff games. Peyton Manning won his first playoff game at 27, and he started 0-3.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I don't remember anybody coming for his head because he was the prince that was promised and he was going to change the league, which he did. It just took him a little while. The thing that Lamar's up against more than anything is the Mahomes standard, which makes everybody look terrible. I do think they'll be more ready. I do think they will learn from last year. My concern about Lamar is that there's going to be a lot of shots of him on the sideline in this game. And I don't mean wearing sunglasses. I mean sitting him watching Derrick Henry run up and down the field. I think Lamar's going to be fine. Someone needs to tackle the running back for the Titans. I don't know if it's Calais Campbell's the only guy out there bigger than him, but that's what this game's going to be about. And Lamar could play great and totally lose this game. But psychologically, bring it full circle, I do think they've grown up, and I do think it will make a difference.
Yeah, I could tell you that loss in the playoffs to Derrick, it knocked the Titans on their butts. Like that was a rough offseason for them to swallow that one because there was so much hype, so much excitement. And all the things that worked for the Ravens last year weren't working against the Titans. They went for it on 4th and 1 twice.
Oh my God, yeah.
They didn't get it. And all season they were 8 for 8 on 4th and 1. Like it was where the analytics guys were all being lauded as geniuses. It just wasn't there. And you know what? For the start of the season, it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think this entire season changed for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in that Cleveland game. And it happened in one moment. He goes to the locker room. Obviously, everyone had their jokes. He spoke to Carissa Thompson last week on Fox, and he's like, I was cramping severely because I had COVID. Like, it wasn't I had to go use the bathroom. Like, I couldn't do anything because I had COVID. That's why, and I was still coming back from that. And if you've been through COVID, you might know that, there are a lot of cramps involved and you're being asked to play in a professional football game. Gets the fluids, returns, scores that touchdown, and then drives them all the way for the Tucker play. Look, Lamar Jackson's been through it. And since that game, since that Week 14 Monday Night Miracle that we loved and we celebrated and had a blast with because Lamar finally found his groove, he's been unbelievable. And they've been unbelievable. They haven't had the stiffest of opponents, but we knew that going in that the final 3 weeks of the season were not going to be juggernauts for them. But they blew out the Jaguars, they blew out the Giants, and they took care of business against the Bengals on Sunday. Lamar Jackson looks like the Lamar that he was last year when we were lauding him. And this Ravens team looks even better than they were coming into the playoffs last season. I like Lamar and them and the Ravens more now than I did heading into wild card weekend last year, and they didn't even play a game. They were so good. They were 14-2, and they got a bye. So I like this team. They're hot, and I feel like Lamar wasn't humbled. I don't think humbled was the right word, but Lamar was knocked down on his butt and built himself all the way back up, and he's got more confidence now than I've ever seen him.
Rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. I got to handle some business. You know, it wouldn't be our show if I didn't say it. Ragu, you know, of GMFB.
Who are you talking about?
He said it's Derrick Henry's birthday, either yesterday or today. It was either on the 4th or the 5th. You can't mention Derrick Henry all throughout the show and not mention happy birthday to one of our favorite players. So,
Producing Ragu.
Glad Ragu is
Thanks,
on it, man.
Ragu.
Thank you, dude.
That's his rap name, right? Ragu?
Yeah, Ragu.
And his rival is...
By the way, diehard Titans fan, Ragu.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. He was in a game one.
He's been texting me the whole time saying Derrick Henry's the real MVP. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers also had a great year. Shout out to Ragu with the chocolate chili. Inside joke. Here's the thing.
Crazy.
Lamar Jackson, a few years into his career, he's already been to the playoffs. This is going to be his 3rd time. So I know there's this narrative, right? Can he win the big game? He's proved that throughout his career in the regular season. But last year was a little bit different. I'll give them a pass. And I'll criticize Lamar Jackson when he's playing bad. I'll criticize Lamar Jackson when he's not putting the team on his back. I'll criticize Lamar Jackson when he's not playing like the MVP. But last year in the playoffs, they were without Mark Andrews. They were without Mark Ingram. I remember so vividly Mark Ingram limping off the field, and this is after him having a great year with us, winning the scepter, saying he's gonna put the angry run crown on the Heisman, and he was our favorite dude in the NFL. And that image of him being on the sideline, me thinking to myself, man, I know what it's like to have a superstar go down. And if he's not on the field, this team will be different. And then I hear that Mark Andrews was down. Now, you have guys like J.K. Dobbins stepping up. You have Mark Andrews, who's back healthy. Marquise Hollywood Brown, who's now catching the ball. And Lamar Jackson was not only throwing the ball well, but he loved to take off. Now, I feel like there was a moment in time where he was gun shy. I don't know if teams have figured it out, they boxed him in, or if he was saying, I want to prove that I'm a passer.
Guess what, Nate? On Thursday, I'm not making this up, it's Lamar Jackson's birthday.
That's it. So we got back-to-back birthdays.
That show, huh?
And these guys are going to
birthday show.
How about
Today's
that?
birthday.
What a time to be alive if you're these two dudes.
Today's whole
Yeah,
birthday.
you're right, Nate. You're right.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so for me, I just feel like they have all of their tools at their disposal.
Great defense.
And this is a lot different than what happened last year. There's teams that will be the same team we saw last playoffs, and then there's teams that will be completely different. What I'm saying is the Lamar Jackson-led Ravens will be a completely different squad than what we saw in the postseason last year.
You sent an email on Sunday, like you always do. You do your week's work, like outline of what you want. And one of the first things that you emailed the group chain was the run game for these Ravens and what they're doing. So don't you think, Kyle, that just as easily you'll have lots of sides on the sideline of Ryan Tannehill
Derrick Henry,
sitting there because they're watching this team run around?
Yeah, the best part of the Titans defense, really the only good part, is their secondary is really talented. I mean, they are. It's not a great matchup. It's not. I'm just wondering, like, if you were to pick your rap name, why would you pick yourself a name after spaghetti sauce?
I think it's
like
Ragu. And it's the big Ragu, I believe,
like,
officially.
does he have beef with MC Boyardee? Like,
Okay.
What the hell?
Triggs, you know this Ravens team. I always sort of like, I look at you and you got family from there, you know Baltimore. I like that the pressure is off of this team right now. And what I mean is, they were dead a couple of weeks ago, right? Would be pre-cramp COVID locker room. They were dead. They weren't supposed to be here. I think that there's power in that. This is not one of those games they're approaching like last year's game where we're supposed to win this game. I think they feel like they're the underdog. They have the chip on the shoulder, and they're foaming at the mouth now. And I think it reminds me of the Eagles when they lost Wentz, and then they went on to win a Super Bowl. They were dead. It's not like they have nothing to play for. They obviously do. But
People wrote them off.
There's some feeling, and the Giants did it in 2011. Like, they came out of nowhere.
Guess who else did it? The Ravens did it. They had to win 2 road games in 2013. No one thought Flacco could do it. No one was even high on the Ravens. And he went into Denver, beat Peyton Manning, into New England, beat them.
Is there something to that? Like, a team coming from the dead, like, could be the most dangerous team of all?
Absolutely. Especially because before the season, everyone was picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl, and they already jumped off that bandwagon. It's like, who's with us?
Yeah.
I think because it takes the pressure off.
DJ Diced Ham is right. Listen, when it comes to this team, I feel like the criticism and everybody wanting to bury Lamar.
Yeah.
When have we seen this? A unanimous MVP, and then in the middle of the season saying he wasn't as good. He's not as good as he was. I mean, we wanted to wash away this entire squad.
We had a funeral for that.
And now they're more motivated than ever. I've always said it. There's motivational factors. There's winning a Super Bowl. There's individual goals like Pro Bowls and accolades. There's money, of course. There's the love of the game. And then there's criticism of people saying you don't deserve your job. 2 guys that have fell under that this season, Lamar Jackson and Mitchell Trubisky. And regardless of how the Chicago Bears season ended, Mitchell Trubisky heard that criticism of, Your job is gone. And he rose from the ashes and has been playing well.
KB, this is going to be a tough game to call, to pick.
Really tough. It's my favorite game.
I have no idea.
We're starting to talk about it. Like, well, yeah, the Titans are going to run all over them. Well, the Ravens are going to run all over them. They've both been in the playoffs before. It's my favorite game, and we'll probably do predictions on Friday. The other ones, let's be honest, I think we all got a pretty good feeling about the other ones. This one, I don't know yet.
I think this will come down to the pass game, though. I know we're all like, oh, man, great running team.
Which side?
Tannehill to AJ. Woo!
This is going to come down to who can pass the ball the best. And not the most yards, but the most efficiently.
No, man. I just saw the Ravens run for 400 yards in a game. I think they
yeah, but the Titans had a guy run for 2,000.
That's exactly right. That's why I think it won't come down to the passing.
But whoever,
I think it's who's gonna run the ball best.
Just like that A.J. Brown shot at the end of the game for the Titans, it's going to come down to that one big play, not that one big run. That's what I feel like.
At GMFB, Tom Pelso, great combo, guys. Tom joining us right now. John Elway shuffled around